And it is another weekend. That means it's time for the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty, Boise. And Chris, as you always remind me, there's no time off for you, even Labor Day weekend. You are a busy man, and I think a lot of folks, at least we say it's building a new beginning. That's the motto of our show today, and you've said we're going to talk about home building and what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a lot of good news going out there about Boise and a lot of other cities out there, which is always a good thing. And I kind of wanted to take this show and discuss, what's really going on out there. Inventory levels, we talk about it all the time, but it's a really important thing that we're starting to see a lot of growth again, which is always a good thing to see here in the Valley.
What, as we'll call it a consumer, somebody that's out there looking at real estate, seeing in particular in my house, in my neighborhood,
right?
What should I be listening for in this show about? So I'm thinking to myself, is it good all these new houses are going up? And what I'm thinking is, well, what's that mean for the value of my home? Does that mean the economy's going? What are type of things, as a listener today, I really need to try to pick up as an indicator?
Well, one of the big things I tell people, because they really get concerned, as you start seeing, like, for example, your subdivision over in Meridian Paramount, and you talk about, they pop through, I think this phase is 7 and 8 now. And so you're going to be right on the cusp of all this new construction. And that is a concern for people. They said, when you're in other areas around the United States, typically in big cities, they're built out already. So you're not going to see a whole lot of new construction next to older houses. Not that your house is that old, but the fact of the matter is it still does affect your value, because, when you're talking about like values, for example, right now, the average prices for new construction is $239,000. You're talking in the upper hundreds for Ada County in general. So yeah, there is a difference. People will pay more for new construction, and especially the fact that people don't understand, when you start seeing a closed number in new construction, somebody might have walked in, partial way through that build job, and then they start adding value. They start adding different cabinets, and it starts running the number up.
Okay, it is Labor Day weekend, the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty in Boise. If you said, hey, this is the weekend that we are going to purchase, or we are going to sell, or we're going to reach out to Chris Lofthus, I'm going to tell you right now, do it now. Click chrislofthus.com. That's CHRISLOFTHUS.com. You can send an email. Contact us at clgeagle.com, or if you're in your car and say, Dave, shoot me the cell digits, it's 350-6228, 350-6228. And the team will get with you. Our guest today is going to be Dennis Schaffner of Schaffner Fine Homes. And I underlined fine. There was, I guess it was the parade of homes, and we had talked about this a few months ago. You'd highlighted it. And, to me, I start looking at the house, and I'm like, let's hurry up and get through these. And my wife had pointed out so many things that Dennis does, just the little fine pieces, that when we got done, we had a small vote on this, but I said, he's got to be one of the finest home builders in the state and the region. Yeah,
Dennis is, and Schaffner Fine Homes, they have a great team that they work with over there. And yeah, you can tell, you walk into one of Dennis's products and you really can see the difference. For example, you're talking about the parade home he did over in Spruing Greens, which he just sold, which is great. You show more movement in the marketplace. But Dennis, you watch this, the small touches that he does, from the master bath. If you didn't get a chance to see that house, you can just really tell when you walk in the house, just the difference in the level of of talent and effort and everything that he puts into his houses.
Chris, I would guess that's a question when people come to you and say, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom, whatever it might be. What are types of questions that you hear when they say, well, who was the builder? Is that critical? Are those questions that come up when they're looking at the homes with you?
Yeah, when we have people that are doing, like you would say, a build job, or if Dennis was building it for our clients, and this is why I like Dennis and Schaffner Fine Homes, is they make the process really easy for the homeowner. Not to put any builders down out there, but that's such a crucial piece for us. By buying a home is one thing, but building a house is a totally different animal. You start looking at the fact of picking out, finishes, where are you going to build it, what kind of lot are you going to buy. So, all these come into play here, and Dennis really kind of puts the buyers at ease.
The one that I see is, when the boom was going on, I guess 06, and started coming to a conclusion in 07. I mean, everybody built houses.
Sure.
My neighbors, my kid. Hey, I'm a builder, and I'm really good. And I think part of it is, longevity is not always a great thing, but it's nice to be able to still go back and call your builder and say, hey, there's something here. Can you fix it? And you can't do that very often. And Dennis has actually been building houses for a couple of decades in the Valley.
Right. And you're exactly right, Dave. And you talk about, when the boom was going on and everyone was a builder. And you can see the difference when you walk in these houses now. They're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And you start looking at the finishes and you start really kind of, it's kind of funny. It's difficult to put an exact feeling on it, but it's kind of transparent. You start walking the house and you can just kind of feel how the quality just isn't there. And you're exactly right. You buy a house like that, or even if the builder's around, he's probably not in business. But with Dennis, you call Dennis, he's going to come out and fix any problems with the house. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to give a plug for, I think Burton was on 2 weeks ago. Just giving a plug for him. You can pay me now. Dennis can take care of you, or you can pay me later, and Burton can come in and take care of it. But I think at the end of the day, you pay a lot of money for a home. And no matter what your budget is, if you're paying $150,000 or not, that's a lot of money for that person that's paying it. Or you're paying $500,000, that's a lot of money. You expect this thing to last longer than a Mattel car,
right? Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. But for example, we're just talking about, Dennis and I were talking about before we came on the show here about just new construction inventory levels and kind of how it's been affected, how it's changing. And you look at now, right now in Ada County, there's 353 active listings right now in Ada County, which is 15% of the total inventory that we have available out there. If you look at that, and the dollar amount sold isn't up that much, so up about 4% from last year. And you look at resale homes are up 16% from the same time last year. But the thing about people need to understand, these numbers are going to change. That number is going up. It's going up every single week. And the reason is, if you look nationally, we're third. So Boise, Ada County is third. We're up 16.8% list price from last year, which is a big thing, which is going to drag that sold price number up as well.
Yeah. And like any charts or numbers where we fit, everybody wants to know, and you watch this nationwide, who's in front of us? Who's 1 and 2?
There's only 2, Santa Barbara and Phoenix. Phoenix is up, I think, 33%, something like that. It's a crazy number.
Yeah. And Santa Barbara's on the top of that list, and then there's Boise, number 3, up. You've got your stats here, nearly 20%. So that's incredible. Let's talk about real quick before we bring Dennis on the show. How would the process work? Would I have yourself or Jerry? In fact, as I've got Jerry right now, I said, hey, if you see something, an acre or 2 acres, the old farm boy, along that lines, help me find that. And let's say she found that piece. Then how would I want to talk about how you built your relationship with Dennis. I would say, well, now I want to build a house on there. Who do I reach out to? Is that how you two developed your relationship?
Yeah, we do. And to be completely honest, I'm typically not totally involved. I'm oversee kind of the whole thing.
Right.
Jerry's great. She's got a great eye for stuff, and she gets along great with Dennis. And Jerry Kelly's one of our client specialists, and she gets involved in the process. So she kind of puts the buyer's mind at ease, and so it's not just the buyer being thrown out there and just trying to deal with Dennis. We have we try to be involved there contractually and make sure everything kind of stays on track all the way through the build out.
So when was your first dealing with Dennis that you said he's one of my trusted advisors now?
Yeah, I met Dennis. I think I met Dennis a year ago or so, and I knew about him. I've known his product. I knew it was a quality product. But actually, Tim Bungard, CEO of Pioneer Title, actually introduced us, and we just kind of started a relationship. And I've been kind of helping Dennis with his marketing, and he liked my marketing that we use for ours, and we kind of walked our stuff through like what we do. And we both believe in quality. We both believe in keeping great talent around us as well.
Well, Dennis is going to talk on this topic about finding a builder. And, we know the doctors, they have to go to medical school, and they've got their PhD and MD and all the elements. But what about a builder? Well, the Idaho Building Contractors Association has put together a program. It's RMB, and we're talking about master builder, and not just saying you are. I mean, how do you get registered? How do you get involved in that? So that you, as a potential buyer of not only the property, but saying, Dennis, I want you to build a home, or whomever, you can ask the question, show me your RMB. Yeah,
it's a great thing. When Dennis first showed me this, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, we started talking about it. I didn't honestly know anything about it, but it's a great thing. I think it's a wonderful thing because it's basically the kind of the good housekeeping stamp of approval from from Registered Master Builder. You look at and Dennis can talk about this better than I can, but the steps that you have to take to get that stamp of approval.
All right, so we'll talk about that part of it. And then also I want to ask him kind of the new things people are putting in houses. He's always a step ahead of everybody else, and what are you adding on houses? What are people asking for? What are really cool projects you're working on and more? That is the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group, Ed Keller Williams Realty in Boise, Dennis Schaffner of Schaffner Fine Homes, when we come back right after this timeout.